Welcome back to another episode of Calm Before the Storm. I'm Kim.
I'm Steph.
I'm Kimberly.
If you missed our last episode, we talked about Valentine's Day, Side Piece Day, where you can get your significant other for Valentine's Day. And go check it out on our YouTube channel at Calm Before the Storm Podcast. Ladies, how was your Valentine's Day?
Great.
It was good. I worked.
Okay. On the day of love, you worked.
The day of love. You
It's
delivered love.
scary, right?
You
Because I
delivered
was
love.
working.
Yes.
Yeah.
You delivered love.
Yes, I love
Yes.
that. This week we're on a more serious topic. We're talking about sex addiction. Um, if you don't know what addiction is, it's an excessive sexual thoughts, desires, urges, or behaviors that can't be controlled and cause distress and harm to your relationship, finance, and other aspects of your life. All right. So,
Yes.
what
If
do you
I'm being honest, I thought sex addiction was just an excuse.
to have more sex?
Right.
Yes.
To keep having sex, to have multiple sex partners. Yes. Just an excuse.
I didn't believe it was a real thing.
No. Then came research.
Right.
Yeah.
So then came
hmm
research. I didn't know that it was like a real mental illness,
hmm
right?
Same.
Like you just think like, okay, you just want to have more sex, but it's like, no, like it's on their mind all the time. Everything they think
Right.
about, it's in a sexual way. And it's like,
hmm
okay, like, yeah, you might like sex, but like you need a break sometimes.
They do
Yeah.
not.
They do not.
Right. They do
They
not.
do not. Do not. And
Um,
it's, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I feel like for them, it's really just sex. It doesn't matter about who it is, how you
Mm-mm.
know them. They just need to get it off.
Right.
So we did some research. Sex addiction
hmm
is most common in men than women. For every 2 to 5 males with hypersexuality, one woman is affected. Sexual addiction begins on average at 18 years of age. Most individuals don't reach out for professional help until 37.
hmm
Wow.
I was stuck on that.
Yeah.
When I researched, I was stuck. I was like, oh my God, if you really, like, that's a long time to go through something and like not say, oh my God, I need help. Or if you think about it, I need help. And almost 20 years before you're like, okay, I need help. Like something's got to give.
They
Right.
probably don't realize it because
Right.
it's sex. And who don't
Yeah.
like sex? Who don't,
I I get
right?
it, but yeah,
I
yeah.
And you
I
get in
wanted
trouble for it.
Yeah, I wanted to know like how does it start? Like what
Mm,
in a person's mind, like what begins that I gotta have it, I need it all
mm-hmm.
the time. And it says that anxiety could start it, depression,
Mm-hmm.
low
Yeah.
self-esteem, um, and then
Traumas.
yeah, trauma, or it could be
Mm-hmm.
passed down, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Hereditary. I did not know
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Any addiction. So I look at it when I started looking into this, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like any other addiction
Yeah.
that anyone may have, except this one is just sexual. So,
Mm-hmm.
like if you have a drug addiction, you're basically just looking for that high to release those hormones that make you feel good.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing sexually. You just want to
Mm-hmm.
feel good. So this is a distraction from whatever it is that is going on for you.
So now
Right.
what happens if you're dating someone and they have a sex addiction? How do you process that and how do you deal with that?
I, I feel like I feel like you never really processed it. I'm just speaking from a place of like not really knowing, right? Just hypothetically putting myself there. Like I feel like it's something you could never really process because you don't understand it. Like I dated or I was with someone who had a different type of addiction, and I knew that it was an issue. They would say it was an issue and they were going to fix it, but they never fixed it. They would do good for some time and then they would fall right back down the rabbit hole. So I don't know that the person dating is really ever going to be able to truly process it, and deal with it until that person decides to really wholeheartedly get help. I think you
Mm-hmm.
just deal with it at that point.
Right,
I'm
because it's
trying to help
like
them.
you
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning you're like, okay, why do they want sex so
Mm-hmm.
much? And then it's just like, okay, you're asking for it way too much. And then how
Yeah.
many times are you asking for it a day?
So I
Right.
feel like with sex addiction, for them, it's not just you end up getting cheated on because
Yes.
they have
Mm-hmm.
to have it at all times of the day and you're not there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
So unless you're attached to their hip at all times,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna cheat on you. So I think
Yeah.
the bigger problem for me would be like, I understand you have an addiction, but I
Mm-hmm.
personally don't think I can handle
Mm-hmm.
getting cheated on multiple times. And yes, I
Right.
understand it's addiction, but I personally don't think that I could deal with that hurt on top of it.
Right, 'cause
Right.
it's not like, okay, you did that and I gotta forgive you. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
cheated. I can't just blame it on because you have a addiction and I wasn't there at the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's you have a
Yeah.
problem.
But that ultimately is it. You have to be able
Yes.
to deal with that. Like that really is it. They
Yeah.
didn't want to cheat on you. They
Yeah.
weren't even
Mm-mm.
thinking about you or themselves. They were just
Right.
thinking about
Right.
getting their rocks off, and I need this right now.
Yeah, I can't.
I think that puts pressure on someone too, right? Because it puts pressure on them and like I don't want to be cheated on, so you have to make yourself available, right? A lot more to them than yourself.
Hmm.
And then you try to be so creative to keep their attention on you. So it puts like this pressure on you like I've got to show up and do this. I've got to keep it spicy because of this. So in turn, the spouse loses themselves like
Hmm.
any other addiction like you
Right.
but for me I think this is so much more like emotionally draining in a sense because
Hmm.
you're losing all aspects of yourself
Feel
to
like,
try to stay for this person or
mm-hmm.
be available to this person emotionally, sexually, physically. It's a lot. And just researching and reading stuff on this, I was like, wow, I really didn't realize how serious this
Hmm.
addiction was. And just like Steph said at the beginning, for me it was like it's just an excuse, like this is an excuse, but so it was good to bring this topic in and research it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it lowers your self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
as the spouse to whoever it is, because it's like I'm not enough for you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
enough.
But then
Right.
it like also in their eyes, they don't want to hurt you, but they just can't help
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So it's kind of like
Yes.
I feel bad for both of you,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
I feel like in this situation, it's more men than women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I think Steph and I had like a side conversation, and I was like, I guarantee it's women over men. And we were like, you know what? Yes. And when I was digging, I was like, oh, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
I rarely heard or seen like anyone or a show or anyone say, "Oh, a woman
Mm.
has addiction," that
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow.
I also
Yeah.
feel like women hide a lot more things.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're not very vocal
Mm-hmm.
about things that are going to make them look a certain way,
Hmm.
Right.
you know,
Right.
especially sex addiction. We already get a bad rap for having
I know.
sex in the first place. Like if you dating two
Right.
or three people, you're a problem. So,
Hmm.
Right. That's true.
Um, do you think that someone can heal from it?
Yes.
what do you mean heal by like
Heal from like their addiction?
recover?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like any other addiction.
Yep.
Every day is a new day. Every day is a day they
Yeah.
have to fight.
I think as
Because
a
Hard
I
work.
feel like with
professional,
sex, it's way more tempting than
Yes.
like you can take yourself out of places where there's drugs and alcohol. You
yeah.
don't have to visit
100%.
those
Yep.
things. You don't have to
Mhm.
surround yourself
Yep.
around people that do that. You can make that happen,
Hmm.
but you can't get disappear from other people. Like there's
That's what I was
always
gonna
No.
say.
gonna
Like,
be
I wonder how, like, when they go to therapy, like, what are the steps that they
Hmm.
do that they suggest? Like, okay,
Right.
when you start to feel or imagine, like, use these steps, because like I wouldn't know. You know what I
like what
mean?
they do. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's their like AA, like what is their
Right.
6-step program, right? I did try to like Google, and every time I like went in to get somewhere, it's like, oh, call this number should
Right.
you need help, right? So it wasn't really like, okay, these are the steps to take. So I really couldn't find, I wanted to get some information, but there was really nothing, you had to call someone or sign up for something to get
you ain't
information.
trying to be a
I was like, I do not
Like
want my name or
I
my
just want
email.
I just went like
I just want the
No,
information. I really
I
don't
just
have a
want a little
problem.
info. Yeah,
They'll be
no, it's
like,
not
actually,
me.
right, it's called denial. You do.
Yeah, admitting is the first step. Okay, there we go. We're getting somewhere.
and when we talk about sex addiction, that talks about porn, right? You could
Hmm.
just want to watch porn all the time.
Yes.
You
Yes.
could it does involve sex, or it just like these
Or
thoughts.
jerking off
Yes.
constantly.
I don't know how.
That is like masturbating, whichever way.
Hmm.
But some people do that
Yeah.
for all day, every day.
I think I kind of knew someone with a sex addiction, but they would never admit that it was a sex addiction.
So now what if it's not okay? What if it's just they don't want to have sex? Like it's not just sex, right? What if it's like, okay, they
Hmm.
have sex with you, but then
Hmm.
they just masturbate a lot? Is that
That's
something
what I'm
that you
saying.
can deal with? Or
No, I couldn't deal with it. It would, I would be so like outraged about it because
Hmm.
like you're not enough. And then it's like I would go into like computers and I would find like porn sites, and I would be like, you know, to each his own. Like, some
Mhm.
people really enjoy that, and that's okay. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it's like you're with your person, but then at night you're like
Sneaking
in
off?
your own little secluded space, and it's like you're jerking off to porn in front of some type of thing when you have your person in the same place as
Mhm.
you. And then it's like, I would ask questions about it, and it would
You
just
felt like it was excessive. Because I
it
feel
was
like
super
jerking
Like
off
excessive.
once
is,
in a
is a
while is
pass,
okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
whatever. You
Once in a
can,
while,
yeah.
yeah.
But I
No,
do
it was
agree. If I'm
excessive.
laying right here,
Yes. It
why
was
would
very
you then
excessive.
go
Yeah.
somewhere else?
Yes,
Like you can get
yes,
the
yes,
real
yes.
thing. What's happening?
Right. And the porn that I would find was like outrageous. It wasn't like your basic superficial. It was a lot of like crazy. And then I would like get in my head like, but wait, we don't do that kind of stuff. And it's like,
Mhm.
whoa. So I
Hmm.
kind of feel like that was part of the addiction to this person too, but they never admitted to it. So
Hmm.
it just was something they then started to hide. So then that made a secret space for them, which is how
Okay.
I could like come and say, like, it put pressure on the relationship, it put pressure on me, and your confidence goes down. Like you're not secure, you become insecure. But they never admitted that they had this addiction, but their child suffered from it in some type of way too. So that
Oh,
is when for me
wow.
it became a serious thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So but they never got help for it. I mean, I don't know where the person is today with it because I don't have contact with this person, but I would say that it was a sexual addiction. They just would never admit to it.
Mm,
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys know I watch reality TV, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's this 90-day fiance, and
Mm.
this guy is dating, she's younger than him, lady, and they fight a lot. So, but she wants sex.
Oh,
That's why they're
And
fighting.
that's what I was gonna
no,
say.
but she starts a lot of the arguments, right?
Okay.
She expects certain things and stuff like that. So then it becomes where he, you know, is like distance towards her now. So she's like,
Mm,
well, you want to go and watch your porn and all this stuff. And, but it's just, I get what he's like, she's too much at times. So he's
mm.
just like, I think he's like turned off by her. But then he's like, why don't you try to do what I do? And, maybe you might like it. And he's like, no, but I need the real thing,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah.
do you feel like if it's a couple that's fighting a lot and at times they're not getting along, but
Mm.
he just likes to watch his porn, do whatever he does, if that's okay? Or is it like, no, that that's
So like if
forbidden?
they're fighting too much, should they get a pass now for the excessive porn and masturbation?
I don't I don't think it should be something you should get a pass for, right? If that's what you do, that's what you do.
Hmm.
If they came into it understanding,
Hmm.
this is what he does. This is his pastime sometimes, like, hey, it is what it is. But to consider it like a path, like,
I mean,
not
me watching it,
really.
I'm like, yo, just like one
Right.
time, just give her something good to shut her up.
Right,
So I think
right,
that's the first problem right there. Maybe she
right.
just stop getting
That's what I'm
Give
angry
saying.
and
Like,
some
being
just
good
upset if
stuff.
you just gave her
Give it to
something.
her.
Like
so
we
then
said
she
before,
said,
a lot of issues come from not having sex.
so then she
Sex.
said she
People
wants
are
an open
angry.
relationship and he
Oh,
got mad.
that's a whole different
You
story.
think?
Right now, that's a totally different story.
Was she just trying to be hurtful? Like you think?
Um, she just likes to piss him off.
So yeah, she was just trying to
Okay.
get under his skin. Well, she's probably
No,
saying if you're
I
not
honestly
giving it
don't
to
think,
me,
I don't think she was just trying to piss him off. I think she might have cheated here and there and nobody
I
knows.
mean,
already,
she's
And
not
she
getting
just,
none.
yeah.
you holding out. And so
Right.
I already feel like that's a problem. If they're not
Same.
even
She wants
married yet,
some.
No,
you're
they are
holding out.
married.
Oh, they're married.
Oh,
She's in America, everything.
So if you're
what?
holding out on sex and you in turn are now deciding to go masturbate and have porn, and she's already stating that it's an issue for her, then you need to
Mm-hmm.
address that issue as her
Right.
husband. One,
Yeah.
two, I get it. If you fighting and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
like I
it's
get what
hard to.
I get where he's coming from because she's just a lot at times.
Hmm.
Um, but hey, we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Maybe she
Right.
is telling the truth, but you know, it just seems like she always doing a lot.
Was it
Well, from
always
what you're
like
putting
that
on,
though? So
Yeah, it was
right,
always like
what you
that.
putting on TV, give her some, and maybe her
That's what I
attitude
think.
might change. That's
That's what
probably why she got an attitude.
I'm just saying.
Right. Come on, give her some.
Um, what's the difference between sex addiction and maybe wanting to have just a little bit more sex a week?
Hmm.
I feel like
Sex
we said that's
addiction.
like
Mm-hmm.
having, some people have, sex more often than others in
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and some people, they want to have a lot of sex and they're fine with it with their couple. As
Mm-hmm.
long as you and your partner are on the same page, then it works for you. I think sex addiction comes into play where you have zero control
Yep.
over it. You need it on all the time,
Mm-hmm.
24/7, and you are going to whatever length you need to go
Right.
to make that happen.
It don't matter. You will sell your soul for that.
Pretty
Right.
much.
So that leads us
Mm-hmm.
in to what's going on in
Mm.
pop world. Obviously, we know Diddy is in
Mm-hmm.
jail.
Yes.
He I think his trial is this year sometime, maybe over the summer. And now things are starting to come out, documentaries are coming
Yeah.
out. Um, more and like I think every other day it's a new lawsuit against him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow,
Hmm.
Right.
the amount of lawsuits that he has is just crazy.
Yep.
So now they're saying, I think I watched a documentary the other day. They have an assistant coming out that came out, and he's saying, he would set the mood in the room. It would have to be a red
Mm-hmm.
light. They would have to have the baby oil. They would have to have the drugs and all this stuff. And I'm just
This
like,
is what the assistant said on a
yeah.
documentary.
hmm
Okay. Hmm.
And I'm just like, we know Diddy for like his music. We knew he was
Right.
a little hype, and always excited and stuff like that. But now we're finding out another side of Diddy that is just like, it's
Yes.
disgusting.
I feel like he
Yeah.
was always giving off them sexual vibes back in the day. Like he
Right.
he would voice it on not like in an excessive way, but like,
Mhm.
oh, Scorpio, like, we be going for
Mm-hmm.
he would say little things like that
Yeah,
when they
because
used
I
to have
think
like
Young Miami.
reality shows.
hmm
Right.
Um, even with like when he had his twins, he would
Mm-hmm.
say like little sexual innuendos. So he always gave me the vibe of he just likes to have a lot of sex, but I didn't think
Mm.
anything more than that. I just
Yeah, I
figured
mean,
that
I
Right.
know like they always talked about Diddy parties, but it was just like
Yeah.
it wasn't. I mean, the way they used to make it seem was like it was a big orgy,
Yes.
like
Right. And I think,
allegedly,
yeah,
right, allegedly.
allegedly, it was just,
But
allegedly.
everybody knows that those were the stories, right?
Hmm.
yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I didn't think they were. I I don't know. I don't know if that I believe that they was true back in the day, but
Mm.
now it's like you're hearing similar stories,
Mm.
and obviously this plays in with sex addiction because he does have a sex addiction problem.
Right. Right.
I mean, he has to if he's doing all this
L- I think there's a lot to it. I
of
think sex
issues. Yeah.
addiction plays a major role, but then I think like power trip is in there,
Yes.
like because he thinks he's like the
1000%.
king of all kings.
hmm
So like that control factor too with his sex addiction was just like a bomb.
Yeah, they
Right.
But
were stating
yeah,
that like that it would be young girls, not like in their
mm-hmm,
20s, but you could tell it was like
right,
a power thing. Like obviously he had more
mm-hmm,
power over them. And
right,
I'm just
Hmm.
like, wow.
But even watching, like, remember when it was like day 26 and
yes,
was the girl group
Danity
that
Kane.
they Danity
Danity
Kane that
Kane,
they had a reality show and
mm-hmm,
he was just like he was power
making the
tripping on the
band,
show. That
hmm
was
yes,
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 making the band.
making the band,
But and I feel like he's always given that power trip feel. Like
mm-hmm,
anytime you've seen him on these shows where like, you got to do this way, I
yep,
want it like this. And I get it when you're trying to produce these shows and do great things, you do get upset. You do want the
mm-hmm,
greatest things. So it may come off that way. And I feel like I thought about it like that, like, oh, he just wants to, but I also felt like you also doing a little too much. They are human.
Yeah,
You
so
gotta look
the
at it like
yeah,
the girl that sang for the original Making the Band, where she was like the
mm-hmm,
only singer and then the rest were rappers. She
yeah,
was in one of the documentaries and she was saying um that he touched her inappropriately.
yeah,
Um she said
allegedly.
like she
allegedly.
said yeah, allegedly. Because he was
We
not
got you,
found
girl.
guilty or not guilty, so it's allegedly.
Yeah.
Right.
Um But she said that watching it, yes, it looked like, yeah, if you want to be a part of Bad Boy, you have to do whatever, you have to work
Mm-hmm.
hard. So us watching, I'm like, damn, he made the mark to cheesecake. But yeah, if you want that bad,
Yes,
you
yes.
better
That's
work,
why it's
you
like
better walk.
you were you were like, damn, he did that to them. But then when you had to sit through the rest of it, you're like, all right, he's doing it to make
Yeah,
them work, cause to see
right.
how hard you're gonna grind for that. But at that point, we were so young too. We were like,
Literally
hey,
grind.
you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
She said it
But
literally,
now
I
you're
think
like, damn,
she said it took them like 6 hours to get there because it was
oh my
walking.
God. Yes.
That's
Yes.
power trip right there.
Power tripping.
That's
Yes.
that's excessive.
It
Like,
very excessive. Very.
And so, I'm just like, he started so many people's careers.
I'm right.
He, he just, it's kind of hard to believe
It
to
it
me.
is. And me too. And the part I think that bothers me, not only with him, with like the R. Kellys of the world, the Weinsteins of the world, the Bill Cosbys of the world, is that if it is that they're guilty, right, for all these things, the fact of you sitting there still like, I didn't do that.
Hmm.
Nope, that wasn't me. But knowing deep down inside you did that to these people and the amount of things we don't know that haven't come out,
Right.
what type of person are you? What
monster.
type of person are you? Right. To still be like, I didn't do that. Knowing damn well, yes, you did.
I mean, R. Kelly is actually convicted of all
Yeah.
these of his
Correct.
crimes, and
And that man
and
cried in front of
currently
a
in jail.
camera.
But
And
we
Right. That he
still,
did
still,
not
but
do it.
clearly there was a sex tape that was put out that you clearly saw that it was him. So there was
Yes.
oh,
evidence.
back in the day, him peeing on a girl.
So
Mm.
there was
Peeing on
evidence.
people. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. But just like
like
that Cassie
again,
video with
But Diddy,
Diddy,
yeah.
we would have never known. Their power, right? Because that also, yes, the sex addiction, you're abusive, but you're controlling. You paid the hotel to put this video away
Hmm.
because you knew you did something wrong. But it's like, oh my God. Yeah,
disgusting.
monsters.
And then had the nerve to
Horrible.
go on and make a statement and say we all make mistakes.
But never
Must
apologized to her.
Mm.
never, never.
Mm.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I'm just like, um, it's just crazy. It's really crazy. Like
Yeah.
when I watch these stories and I'm like, obviously, when a new story comes out, you got to think about it, like listen to all the facts, and then there are people that
Mm-hmm.
will be like, "Oh, this is a perfect time to get a payday." Yeah, let me say something.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but just watching it, and in one of the documentaries, they're saying like, "Oh, this starts from when he was young
Mm-hmm.
Who?
That's
Who,
with Diddy."
Diddy, right? That's the
he was
part for
like
me
that since he was
though.
young?
Like his mom used to like to have parties, and
Mm-hmm.
you never know when you open the door what you was gonna see.
Mm.
I'm just like,
Yeah, that like sex addiction, orgy, like
and
that
then
kind of thing
the
too, right? And look
power
where
the
it turns.
power comes from like his dad being
Mm.
a drug dealer, so it's just like,
The
I
trickle
don't,
effect.
See, it's hard to for me. I get when you're a kid and you see these
Mm-hmm.
things, and this is the lifestyle you grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
um, or your dad was a drug dealer or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
didn't his dad die when he was very young?
so he
So
never really got to know
right.
who he is
So
as an
Right.
know him,
you hear,
period.
well, I guess you hear stories, but I also feel like we could say the same thing about a lot of people that have
Mm-hmm.
difficult lives and grow up in really rough places. Um,
Right.
but you have a choice. You have a
Correct.
choice to make. You
To make your
decide,
life
am I going to
Right.
better.
continue this path and
Yep.
be like my family or follow the path that they did, or am I going to do better for myself?
Right. You know right from wrong at some point.
We can't keep blaming uh, our parents
Mm-hmm.
or our
Childhood
past
trauma. Yep.
or childhood traumas for things that we continue to do. At some point, you
Right.
have to take accountability and responsibility on getting yourself that help.
Hmm.
Right.
And then with all this, it's not just him, it brings other people involved. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then it becomes like allegedly sex trafficking.
Yeah.
That's crazy, the sex
Right.
trafficking. I mean, from what
Right.
I read somewhere, there was an actual video of a guy who had gotten arrested for something, and I think it was drugs, something to that effect for him. And he was saying how he used how Diddy allegedly used to pay him to have sex with Cassie while he would watch.
Yeah, most of these stories, it starts off with him and then it ends up with him watching.
Right.
Crazy.
Which is also a thing, like I clearly she's hurt and traumatized from a lot of these
Right.
things that happened to
Right.
her. But you felt forced to do these things. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of drugs involved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But at some point she's waking up and it's like, I didn't want to
Yeah.
do that.
Right.
Like
Right.
you allegedly forcing her to have sex with somebody when she
Right.
just want to be with you,
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
which
there
is
was there was this one girlfriend of his, she said everything was good. And then one night he went to the bathroom, whatever drugs he took, and then he came out and was just like a monster. And she said
Mm-hmm.
after that day she was done.
Yep.
The drugs are playing a part in this
Mm-hmm.
monster that he is, that he, when when that stuff happens. Um,
It really does.
it was the amount of baby oil for me. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm with you, girl. I
Girl.
can't get over that.
That's a
I
lot.
can't. That's a lot of baby oil. Like,
To
And
how
then the
silky
thing,
sheen you needed to be.
have a supply like that, you doing this
Damn,
quite
right.
you get
often.
A
a
lot.
daily delivery.
Yo,
Hourly.
you sure
Daily,
there's
that
not
was
a shortage
hourly.
on baby oil right now?
No, so the
Sorry.
assistant was saying that now he can't even, like, because he will have to go clean up,
Ooh,
right? He will
that's
have
a
to go
tough
clean up.
job.
Um,
That's a tough.
and now he can't even smell baby oil. It like
I
traumatized.
wouldn't either. I definitely would not be able to either, to be quite honest. I could barely stomach baby oil now. I couldn't imagine literally having to like
I have a
bathe in it.
question though about these assistants and these people, these security guards, and all these people now coming forward.
Hmm.
Mm,
You are an accomplice to this. How do you feel about, at least that's how I feel.
Hmm.
Because if it's young girls, if it is true about the sex trafficking,
mm,
you actually stood there and allowed it to happen. I'm pretty sure you couldn't have stopped it, but you
right.
continue to work for this person and be in their presence while they're doing these crazy acts. Like money is a huge factor. You're getting paid
Well,
well, but at what point do your morals come into play?
the guy said, and this was like a recent, I think this one, I don't remember what channel it was on. But he said that you always heard stories of what happened to prior assistants, right?
Mm,
They
Mm-hmm.
get beat up,
mm-hmm.
something happens to them,
Yeah,
and
that's what
so
I'm
you're
gonna
scared for
say.
your life. So he said a
Yep.
situation, allegedly again, that it was a party and Diddy was like, yo, go upstairs, set the mood. He would put the red light on, he would have the drugs laid out, the liquor, the baby oil.
Can't
And
forget the baby oil.
and he has video, right? He has video of all this stuff. He has
Mm-hmm.
voice notes of Diddy like,
Mm-hmm.
yo,
Ooh.
we need more whatever drugs it is. Like it's Diddy's voice,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then he said one time they was upstairs, he was like, yo, take a shot with us. And he was like, it's not uncommon for you to take a shot with him. So he took a shot. He said, I left the room. I went back downstairs. A few hours passed. Diddy calls me back upstairs and it's like, take another shot. He took a shot with him. Then he like put his hands on his shoulder and was like, yo, it's time for you to prove your loyalty to the king. And he was like, he handed him some condoms and pointed to the girl on the couch. So I'm
Mm.
in my mind, I'm like, I get it. Like you don't know what to do in that moment, how do you get hard?
Mm, right.
Right. Well, probably from the drugs
But
and
no, he
whatever
said
else.
he took a shot. He took a shot. He didn't take none of the drugs. But how do
Uh-huh.
you do? He looked at the girl gave consent. So
Okay.
he says. But how are you able to perform?
You- When you scared for your life, you're gonna have to figure it out.
I don't know. I don't know if I
I
can.
don't know.
I
I
don't know
feel like he
either.
was like, why not? You know?
Right.
How
I
I
many
mean,
mean,
times did you do that afterward? Like, were you a part of the crew?
so
right.
he said he did it for a little bit. Once Diddy walked away, he stopped. That's what he said. Right.
Allegedly.
That's what he said. So I don't know.
I have a
Listen,
lot of thoughts on this.
I have a lot of thoughts too,
You
and I
up
know
in
we
it
have to
already.
kind of
You
like,
are, you in it all of a
right,
sudden. You
right.
stopping?
Now,
Because
let me, okay. Oh, he walked away. Let me take,
Right.
come on. But I mean, allegedly, who are we?
I
I think that the story could be true 50-50.
Same to an
But
extent.
I don't know if like if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. Like, you know what I mean? If
she
it was
gave you
just her,
consent, just be honest.
Right. She gave you
right.
consent. Like, what are we?
Nobody's
She gave you
saying like you
consent.
did anything to her as long as but then it's like, okay,
Right.
all these people are coming out, right? And then there's people
Mm.
that how do we know who gives consent and who doesn't in
We
his
got to go by
situation?
word of mouth. Right.
Right.
Word of mouth.
So
Right. It's still an alleged.
that becomes a hard trial, right? Like, did you give
Yeah.
consent? No. How do I know that?
Right. Right.
That's the part that's
Right.
Well,
like,
that's everything. That's every case is their word against his.
unless you
Right.
Because
have text messages where it was like, I can't believe that you did that to me, and he respond in a way that is like,
Mm-hmm.
like obvious that okay, she didn't want that. But
Right.
I feel like it's kind of hard to say. Anybody could say, no, I didn't consent to that.
But that's
Mm-hmm.
also like rape victims, and that's why they get a bad rap at the end of the day. A
Correct.
lot of
Right.
rape victims don't come forward because of this problem,
Yeah.
Conversation.
this
Right. This
conversation in
topic. Yep.
general. It's like, well, no one's going to believe me because there really is no proof of me saying I said
Right.
no. It's literally their word against theirs. But
So
I
there's
feel
a
like if this many people, no one should question that. If and don't get me wrong, I know there's plenty of women who falsify things and
Mm-hmm.
that's why they
yeah.
give a bad rap to women coming
Right.
forward because there are some women or even men that would say, I said no, and they did it anyway. And that's not the case. You did give consent. But
Mm-hmm.
we kind of have to believe, especially if you're given a good story and it's like,
Do you think like you should have like how long do you think someone should wait? Like, because it's like years later, people are coming out from the 90s like, oh, he did this to me. Do you
I
say
feel
why
like they
now?
waited this long because, like you said before, of the power trip of him being able to do
Yeah.
things allegedly to people that they've
Yeah,
heard
so
and that they
in
could
his
hurt.
situation, he's definitely like witness
So
tampering,
they
reaching out.
feel safe now. They
Hmm.
feel in a safe space to say something. Me personally, I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with it, but I don't think there should be a time limit. I think whoever it is, you had to heal from it in your own way where you felt comfortable to come out and say something because that's not something easy to say and to
Yeah.
let
Right.
people know. Because a lot of times, uh, women, I'm gonna speak for women, I don't really know too many stories about men suffer. I know they do, but I don't know too many. But women don't say anything because they're afraid of how they're going to look.
Yeah.
And they're too scared of, they blame themselves like, well, maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have done this, or maybe I shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I shouldn't even have been there. Maybe, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not the case. Like you say, no, no is no.
That's
Hmm.
Period.
it. Right.
Yeah, I think in his case it's like, oh, he's witness tampering, he's reaching out to witnesses, and I guess trying to pay them off.
Mm.
There was one girl that he used to work with from Dirty Money. The other band member said he would try to do things. The other one, clearly he spoke to her and she was like, "That's not my story."
Mm.
Mm.
And then we found out that he called her like over 100 times.
Whoa.
So it's
Yeah.
like, there's this girl from Housewives of New York.
Mm.
So she was saying that she was raped, and they said, "Do did you know the person?" And she's like, "Yeah, she sees them all the time," right? So that was like, I was like, wow, like I don't even know how
Mm.
she can deal with something like that. And they were like, why don't you go to the police? And she was like, really? It's my word against his.
It's
Because she
true.
didn't go to she didn't go to the hospital that night, get a rape kit and all this stuff. Who's gonna believe her? What you said is the truth. Who's gonna believe?
Yeah.
And I think that it is hard to say that someone didn't consent, and it's hard to prove. He has a lot of
Right.
cases like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I
Yeah.
said it's gonna be a hard trial, because how can you tell?
Right.
Right. I mean, I feel also like the masses are speaking louder than words.
Hmm.
The number of very similar stories
Yeah.
are
Right.
very loud, um, to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and just the fact that Cassie herself has
Kudos to
come
her,
out,
because if it wasn't for her, none of
none
these
of this.
people would be coming out public.
Nobody. Right.
Actually, if he would have just paid her like she asked for, none of this would have
None of
happened.
this would
No,
have
but he
come
did.
about.
He did.
No,
Remember she had
he
the
did.
lawsuit? Oh, he did
He
after, you're right.
Yes.
She asked
After.
for it at this
Prior, yeah.
day on this time, and he said
Yes.
no. He
No.
decided to pay her once she put that forward.
Right, right, right. You're
Because
right, you're
now
right.
you called her bluff, and she said, "Okay."
Right.
You
Right.
she gave you an opportunity, and you chose not to
Yeah.
call her bluff. She got tired of playing these games with you.
She took the power now.
Right.
She sure
And
did.
that's not easy to do because the statements that she has in these lawsuits, the
Right.
stories, you bearing your soul for the world to
Mm-hmm.
see. And all so many people are going to judge you
Hmm.
Yeah.
at the end of the day. She's getting judged, and that's not easy to take on. And I feel like all people who have been through rape or molestation
Yep.
or anything of that matter, that's even like kids. Like a lot of kids don't know how to say so. It could be their own family member, and they keep
Yeah.
it quiet.
Hmm.
They do. It's
Yeah.
crazy though. So it's like
It's just
sex
hearing.
addiction, power trip. And if it's sex addiction, look at where it got this
Hmm.
person, right? It
Mm,
got them to that power trip. So
Yeah.
it's like,
And
get
it's
help.
not just women that's coming forward, it's men.
Men, and that's the
man,
part for me. I mean, and then the whole Meek Mill thing and how many
Right.
videos were
So now we
circulating. I
like
was like,
analyzing
Lord,
every little thing.
right.
everything,
You put your
everything.
hand over here. Why?
Right, right, right. Why you was rubbing like
Mhm. What you telling
Yeah.
him this stuff for? Move your hand. Just talk
Mm.
with your mouth. Don't
and
touch.
then he would always be like, "Yeah, daddy." He used to be like,
Yes. What? Right. Like, what you calling him daddy for? What?
The famous 50 Cent, uh, he was like, he tried to take me shopping. Like, what?
"Yeah.
And then you think about it too, like the Justin Biebers of the world. Remember, Justin Bieber like lost his mind at one point, like in his
Yes.
career, and like
Hmm.
they try to attribute that to like this whole kind of thing that was going on, the ushers of the world, and you really like now start to pay attention to like all these things, and it's like, wow, it's the
Yeah,
serious stuff.
recently, the band member Q from Day 26, I guess
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to do more shows again,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
he said he's not saying his story yet, um,
Mm.
but he's saying he's not saying anything, but he's saying a
But he's
lot.
saying,
But when
I saw a clip of them,
Yeah.
and they were actually all most of them. in the group were crying
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
they weren't saying any, they were just saying, I'm not gonna say anything. Um,
Right.
but I do know that things like this have happened and
Yeah.
he preferred one, I forget who it was that was saying it, but he just wanted an apology. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't
Yeah.
want money.
Yeah.
And he feels like people need, he doesn't want to beat him while he's down because he feels
Yeah.
like he actually needs help.
Yeah, yeah, that's cute. Yeah,
Correct.
that's what he said. He said he needs
Yep.
prayer. He said
Yep.
now that he suffers from schizophrenia, he's bipolar. I
Mm-hmm.
remember during like when they had their Making the Band episode that you could something happened that
Yeah.
he was good and then towards the end of their season it was like what's wrong with him?
Yes. What
Right,
is going
right. It
on?
was
Yep.
like
And
very,
it just
very angry
happened.
all
Yes.
the time, even with the
Yes.
girls, especially
Yeah.
what was
Yes.
her name?
Aubrey
Aubrey?
Yeah.
O'Day.
Yes,
Yep. Yep.
Aubrey all day.
But she said, so no, it wasn't actually her that said it. It was Dawn. No, it wasn't Dawn. I forgot the girl's name, but she said what happened was right before he fired um Aubrey O'Day that he was trying to get with her and she turned him
Mm-hmm.
down. So then the
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
next day a meeting was called and
Right.
he ended up firing her. So again, that's where the
Yeah.
power trip comes
The
in
power.
because he's
Right.
like, you turned me down. Let me show you what I could do to your career.
Right. Listen,
I
Wendy
feel like a
Williams said it
lot of
best.
people.
He's going to jail for a long time, allegedly. Wendy Williams, on her last interview on The Breakfast
Yes.
Club, she's like, let me tell you about Diddy. He's going to jail for a very long time.
And to
Mhm.
think, right, this is just Diddy, this is just R. Kelly, this is just
Yeah.
Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
There's more of these people
There's so
in
much
the
more. Look at the
industry.
Jay-Z's of the world. Sorry, Steph.
Our
You
own
know, there's people coming
president,
out.
our own
Listen,
president.
He used to be at the parties too.
he
Mhm.
used to be at the parties. What were you doing at the party, Mr. President?
They
45 and
all left
48?
early.
Yeah, they all left there.
We left before the red light came on.
Yeah,
I saw the lights change. I
I
had to
saw the
go.
light
had
coming.
to go.
Once we saw the pile of baby oil being rolled to the back, it was time to exit
It
left.
comes out in, like a champagne cart. It's a baby oil cart.
That's how I see it. Baby oil.
So
Oh Lord.
do you think that J-Lo seen these type of
You know, I've been conspiring by well, no, with my partner. Like, do you think that's why them Ben Affleck and J Lo broke up? Because she's about to hit the fan. Because I know she knows a lot of
yeah.
stuff.
I feel like
Because
her and Ben Affleck broke up for other purposes because he always been on the fence with her.
Hmm.
no, 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 I do too. But I kind
She's
of
just
feel
very
like
picky.
this was a
I
little
think she just
fire
gets
under
bored
the.
fast. So
Me too. I think so too. But I think she knows a lot of stuff.
For
She
sure.
was, she was, yeah, that
because I
little
think it was an
secret
episode where she was
weapon.
on Wendy and they was like, "Oh, would you get back with Diddy?" And her mom was like, "No, absolutely
Right,
not."
Mm.
right, right. Uh-uh.
I
So
mean, well, remember they broke up after that whole shooting thing
Shooting.
occurred,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
she did get arrested, right?
yeah,
Yes,
she came out the same day. Yeah.
she
Yeah,
did.
it was
But
like a
ultimately, that's a big.
Yeah, yeah.
She was. I mean,
yeah.
she's still a big celebrity. But
Mm-hmm.
her career was very at its peak, and she's
Right.
very high profile. Not that she's not
Yep.
anymore, but
Right.
I
she was.
feel like with Young Miami, I feel like they,
Mm.
they might have had some
That's his sex
enjoyable
addiction.
sex,
That's his sex
but
addiction.
but
He fulfilled it.
I don't think like she was into those parties because it's a power thing.
Mm-hmm.
He probably saw not with her,
Right.
not with her.
Right. She was his
Not with
like
her
sex
because
addiction.
she she's just not into all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
she's open. Like, go
Yes.
ahead, I'm fine over here.
Yeah.
Like
Have your
she'll
Yeah,
fun.
probably be like, yeah, like he probably enjoyed the time with her, but it was just
right.
not for those type of events.
I agree. Yep.
Mm.
Rather than Cassie was more when, because he started dating her when she was still young.
I think she was 19 or
She was very
18,
timid,
something like
very
that.
quiet,
It's
so it
a
was easy to
yeah,
manage her into like, yeah,
yeah.
let's,
Easy to force his everything on her, and she's like, I got you, Diddy. Take care of everything, Big Daddy. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
now, like with R. Kelly, right? I remember when the documentaries came out, all these lawsuits came out, and then it was like you found like how disgusting things were.
Yes,
Stop listening to their music.
I canceled him.
I I stopped.
I,
That I would listen to a song and I used to be like, oh my God, I love this song. But then you're listening to it, you're like,
yes,
wait, who is he talking about?
yes. Just that was
It's
I had
hard to
to like
separate it.
Right, so now
And
do
then
we do
there's
that?
some
yes.
people who don't care. They're like, oh, so what? He still make
Yeah.
good music. For
Mm-mm.
me, it was not only the listening to the words of what he was saying, it was more of I feel like you make money off of my streams.
Yes,
I
and
don't
I'm
want to
listening to you
support
do
you
this to some 12-year-old girl. You sing to a 12-year-old in the audience,
so
bro.
it's
Maybe
definitely a
once in a while I
battle.
might listen to a song like, damn, this was a good song. But not,
It is
not
definitely a internal battle for me. Like I still like
Oh,
these songs, but then I think about I put myself in their shoes. Like, how would you feel if somebody's still
yeah.
supporting them and you
Mhm. I
suffered through this
jam.
whole
And once
thing?
I hear any, you remind me. It's like clip next, cancel. Nope, get that out. I don't even know how it's on my rotation. Who put R. Kelly on my phone? Take it off. Even with Puff Daddy, P Diddy, he changed his name a million times. Him too. Like the only one song that I listen to is Last Night, and that's only because he's in that part.
that's what I'm gonna say. Do
Couldn't
we
even
do we
get
do
an
that now with
answer.
Diddy? Like, do we
That's
stop
the only
listening?
song I listen
You know how
to.
many
Yeah,
songs he's
everything
in?
else.
First of all,
Yes,
that's hard to do because not only is it his songs, but he's been on so many others
yes.
that you may not even realize that you are still
Correct.
being supportive.
Correct.
So that is difficult.
It is very difficult. I have to tell you, Last Night is on my phone still, but that's about the only Diddy song that I have left
And at the end
over.
of that song, what does he say when he go in at the end of the song?
Oh my God, I know.
He's
I
he
know.
it just clicks right then and there where he's like, you
Yes.
stupid mother.
My God, I know. I know. I
Mhm.
know. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yes. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I still listen to a lot of the songs. Um, just because it's not I haven't thought about it that deep just yet, I guess.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think maybe like when we'll see what the outcome is, then maybe we
That's what happened with me for R. Kelly. Once I
yeah.
started seeing all
Yep.
that and he actually was
Yep.
convicted, I was like, oh my God, how do you?
Yep. I
But the
can't
day
like who
before
put him
you
on
was
my
over there.
phone?
Day before I was jamming.
Yes. You remind me of my Jeep. I wanna buy. Yeah, yeah, that was me. And then it was like, cancel. Who put that there? Yep.
So, do you feel like before we close the show, do you feel like because R. Kelly, Diddy, that they bring in more attention out to other artists?
Yes.
Yeah, I think to everyone, not just artists.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously like they had a Chris Brown documentary, um, and then so in that documentary was this girl that says she went to a party and it was on a yacht. Diddy was there, she was there. He said that she was talking to Chris Brown. Next minute he took her downstairs and like he was forcing himself on her. But then the
Ooh.
next day she was reaching out to him,
Mm. Mm.
right? So then
So
I'm
he
like,
was forcing himself on you, but then you were reaching out to him?
right.
Oh.
So then I was like,
It was the O for me.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if that came off judgmental. I'm just trying to process the story.
It was like kind of weird because I was like, but if you felt like you was assaulted,
Hmm.
why would you reach out? Like even if he said, "Yo, hit me up," you
Right.
was just assaulted. Why would you
That's
want?
where it gets fuzzy, right? With the story,
I
that's where things
also
get
feel
fuzzy.
like that.
So that's
But
why
I mean,
I'm
look at
saying
the
like it's kind of
Cassie of the
hard
world.
to
Right.
She
say if
still
that's
stayed. I think it's also like they're scared. Then you go through this phase of like, maybe I'm making it up. Maybe that didn't really happen. Maybe because I was there. Like I said, a lot of women
Mm,
blame themselves for
yeah.
they
no,
find
but then she
reasons.
landed up sending him like sexy pictures
Yeah.
and all this stuff,
Okay.
and I was like, girl, you almost
We ain't
had
judging you, girl, but you was almost there.
it.
That one's a little hard to believe for me.
I
Right. So
mean,
he was like I think he came out with a statement where he's like suing the production company because it's like half
mm,
of the stuff you were saying in here. He was already proven not guilty for the situation with her and stuff like that. So it's
oh,
like, it's like stop telling these lies. That's what
right.
he's saying.
Even watching some of these rappers and just celebrities in general, some celebrities,
Mm-hmm.
it's true. Like some of them walk around with this power trip, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't, nothing happens to me when a celebrity walks by. No, there's no flood.
Mm-mm.
There's nothing that's
Especially not
gonna
in my
get me.
pants. I'm not
No.
worried about you in the bedroom. Uh-uh.
I'm not one of those that's running to you because
No,
no, you're
no.
just yes, I'm excited. Maybe Beyonce, I might get a little crazy, but that's different.
Right, right, right.
Right.
But like some of these men and their conversations, there's this, I forget his name. It'll come, he has a podcast. Um, he's a basketball, Cam Newton, right? Is it Cam
Hmm.
Newton?
Yes.
His
Yes.
his sometimes he comes off so arrogant when he's
Mm-hmm.
talking about like there was one girl that was on there and he was like, I'm not like if you coming around it's because we doing something. I'm not coming around you because for any other reason. You should know that already. It doesn't have to be like that.
Mm.
Maybe she's actually really trying to get to know you. Like it doesn't
Hmm.
mean that you're gonna have sex. How do you feel about that? Like men who think, oh, we hanging out, so sex is automatically involved.
Mm.
I'm not with it. Like I could just
No.
like why can't we just be friends and just
See where it goes. Let's chill. Or like, even like for instance, with some people fly them out, right?
Right.
Right? Because that
yeah,
happens
no,
in
that
the
happens a
world.
Mm-hmm.
lot. Like if they feel like
It
I'm
does.
flying you out, you giving me something.
Do
Right.
you agree with that though?
Mm, if you're giving off that vibe, like
Right.
yeah, so you
But
know,
they are giving off that vibe because they're talking to each other in a
no, but
they're not
if I'm giving you the vibe that like, yeah, we're just gonna chill, nothing crazy, I'm not even trying to get down like that. But if you're giving off the flirtatious vibe where it's like, yeah, I'm down for whatever, the man's
Right.
gonna
But
think,
you are, don't you think you are flirty? Like when you talking to somebody in that aspect and in a sexual way or a romantic, let me use the proper word, romantic way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you do have these flirty conversations. Um, but now that they're flying you out,
Mm.
do you have to act on it right then and there?
I don't think so. I think if you've
I
been
don't think
straight
Or do
open,
so.
you
like,
think it's because a lot of them think it's an automatic yes, because I'm flying you out, I'm paying for you to catch a flight, I'm doing all these things. What you think you came here for?
I also feel like too, like that comes in like even just the regular dating world, right? Like
Yes.
some men, won't put out all men, but like some men, like you're gonna pay for the dinner, you're gonna pay for whatever we're doing. You take me back to like either your place or the hotel, and then it's like, okay. And then what if I'm like, okay, have a good night. Nice meeting you.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm gonna turn on my side, you turn on yours. I'll see you in the morning. Breakfast, maybe. Like,
Right. So do
sex
Or
is
you
get
go
to
to
always
the
bed.
a
hotel
thing.
too?
Get to
That's the
bed.
other thing. You go to the hotel? See,
I
I feel like you should it should be a conversation. Like if you
No,
getting
ahead of time.
food
Yeah.
out or whatever it is, or you have this date plan, like listen, I'm gonna
right.
come
It's just
out there, but I just want you to know that I'm still getting to know you, and that doesn't mean that we're doing
Yeah.
yeah.
anything.
I agree.
It's
I think
crazy
ahead of time.
though. Yeah, I think so too, but I think sex it's like our whatever number podcast that was, like sex is such a thing
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. It's everywhere, but it's like, me going on my first date, my intent, or my second date, whatever it was, whenever it happened, it wasn't my intention that it was going to happen. So I didn't want to bring it up as a conversation. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, hey, tonight, this is what we're going to do. But, don't think like I just didn't feel like I had to have that
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But some people you do because it's just an expectation. But like sex,
No, I don't
sex
think you
is
have to have it
everywhere.
if you're going on like a regular, like you guys are in the same city and you're just gonna meet for dinner or whatever. And if it leads to it, it leads to it. But these people are booking the same hotel, they're in the same hotel room.
Yeah.
I think
But
you
that's the
need
thing.
to
What if
have a
one
conversation
person is
about
so
it.
what if it's just like innocent thing and like one person that's their mindset and then the other person is just like, oh maybe, I'm just doing this like a casual thing, and then if it happens, it happens. But you're right. Some people you have to have set that in stone because
Hmm.
they don't respect boundaries, I guess, or they
And
just,
then they'll be
you
like, all
know,
right, I can't do
right.
this. Can't.
Right. It's so
So
crazy.
then, so then he's arrogant and then he's like, you ain't,
Mm.
that's really all you
Ooh.
coming for.
Right.
Right.
So if
Ooh.
that's not it, then what am I doing?
Well, I guess you're gonna have to go
You
outside and
ain't
find
doing
someone
me,
else
I'll tell you that
because
much.
it ain't gonna be me. We could do some dinner and then you could go find something else to do, but
Mhm.
I didn't come here for nothing.
People like, so you could get back
But
to the
not that.
hotel by yourself, right? Like, damn, don't
You can
you.
find your way
Damn.
home, honey. Yes.
Damn. He's
My
like, all right,
God.
catch a cab to the airport. Ooh, you can't even send me a lift? No.
See,
Oh my
but
God.
I think I couldn't, that wouldn't work. First of all, that type of
No.
arrogance is such a turn off for me.
It's disgusting. 100%.
That is, you stop it. Because the
It's
only
so
reason you're in this
bad.
position is
Yes.
because of what you do for a living. Take that whole
Correct.
aspect away. Nobody's
Mhm.
looking at you.
Right. No, the arrogance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you
You
100%. And there's
know,
really people who walk
be a
around with
good
that
person.
arrogance
That's
too.
all.
Right. That's it.
Right. Because
It's
us
crazy.
being friends and hanging out might lead to like the best thing.
Correct.
Yes, yes. And you'd be
Crazy.
surprised
Ooh,
how many ladies will just give it up. But when you start acting
A
yeah.
like
lot of
that,
women, yes. And
it
they
A
is
don't mind
lot.
being the side chick.
They
no,
do
no, they
not.
don't.
And they're proud of it too. They'll say it all over the
Like he's
place.
flying me out. His wife don't know. Like, what?
No. Like, look at his shoes. His wife knows those are his shoes. Like,
Yeah,
girl, what are you doing? What are you doing?
let me show an
But he's with
elbow.
me.
Let me
Right.
show an elbow. What's
You know,
happening?
you know his pinky nail. That's his pinky nail, girl.
I knew a
Crazy.
girl who would only, she doesn't do it anymore, but she's actually married now. But prior to
Mm.
this, she used to date only married men.
No.
Yes.
There's people who
And
this is a thing
her
for them.
reasoning, I was so upset with her, and I was like trying to fix it. I was like, fix it, Jesus. What are you doing? No, not
Appalled.
okay. But she used to say, it's I don't have to work. I don't have to do not work like financially, but I mean like she's like, I
Right.
don't have to do the work. Like we go on a
Hmm.
date, it's a great time. We do what we do, and then I don't have to
Mm.
worry about you. I don't have to care for you. I don't have to think like your wife does that. I'm just here for the good time. I got too much
Right.
on to be catering to a man. That was her
Hmm.
reason. I'm like, you
Mm.
breaking up happy homes over here. What you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
So I think that's crazy.
So yeah, so we talked about sex addiction. We talked about some alleged people going through some court cases. And again, it's allegedly. Everything that we said is allegedly. With Diddy, R. Kelly, he was found guilty. Bill Cosby, stuff with Chris Brown. This was all allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are someone that's dealing with sex addiction, or someone that's being sex trafficked, or someone that's in an uncomfortable situation, please seek
Mm-hmm.
help, please.
Yes.
Kim, you want to give our ending quote?
Yes, I will. So our quote is, there is no shame in beginning again, for you get a chance to build bigger and better than before. I don't have a name, so I'm going to mark that as unknown.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Steph, want to close the show?
All right, everyone. We want to thank everyone for watching, and we will see you next time. You can watch the podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at Calm Before the Storm podcast. If you have any comments, ideas, topics you want us to talk about, you can send us a message on our social media or email us at the Calm Before the Storm podcast at gmail.com.
All right. We thank y'all for watching another episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.